Some people think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax.
We're in a cooling period. So look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure.
So Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan Experience. And I have to give little bit of credit to him because Democrats don't have guts to engage with the people who have different opinions than them. He was completely spewing his socialist and climate change, all this nonsense. So Joe Rogan just called him out. He said, man, look, I understand you feel that way, that global warming is big threat to humanity. We are all gonna go extinct in maybe 100 years. But he called him out.
You got to deal with this climate change issue. And I know that, there are some people who think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax. I think the last 10 years have been the warmest on record. And we can create millions of good-paying jobs transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency, to solar, to wind, and other sustainable energies.
I think the climate change issue is very complicated. And I think, did you see the Washington Post piece that they wrote where they did this long-term view? First of all, the reality is that the Earth's temperature has never been static, right? We could both agree on that. It's always been up and down. There's been ice ages and heat waves. And then the Washington Post looked at it. What was the time period that they looked at? That essentially they found that we're in a cooling period. That the Earth over the past X amount of years, and this was like a very inconvenient discovery, but they had to report the data, and kudos to them for doing that. Scientists have captured the Earth's climate change over the last 485 million years. Here's a surprising place we stand now. So look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure.
Of course you're not sure because you guys always say trust the expert, trust the science. But when science disagree with you, then you completely deny it.
No, I didn't read that article, but
Yeah.
The scientists who are out there, I think.
I know, but there's a lot of money involved in that too, Bernie. That's part of the problem. There's a lot of money involved in this whole climate change emergency issue, and there's a lot of control, and that's a big part of this problem.
He is completely right. There's big amount of money involved. Look at that clip, that famous clip, where this man, Konstantin Kisin, asked this climate activist that if we spend trillions of dollars, then what we will get in return. And she was completely shocked because she had no idea.
If we do what you want, which is spend £1.5 trillion, which is about 8 years' worth of the NHS budget, if we do that, by what percentage will we reduce global temperature?
But your argument is silly. You
No,
are
could you answer
saying
the question? What impact will we
is
make?
not telling people what they want to hear. Leading is doing the right thing regardless of what any bullshit
You've got to tell the
with
people
me.
of Britain, if you want to spend
And you brought this man in
1.5
just to argue
trillion,
with me.
if you were to spend £1.5 trillion of British taxpayers' money, what result would you achieve? I think people would like to know that.
What we need is deliberative democracy. We need participatory budgeting. We need people.
So you don't know?
We need
you don't know what
I know
impact
what
on
we
global
need.
temperatures
And we
will
all
have.
need to take responsibility for this.
Okay.
All right.
They have no idea about the results if we spend trillions and trillions of dollars in this climate change hysteria.
It's not an American issue. It is a global issue. And all I can tell you is that we are, in my view, going to see more extreme weather disturbances in the coming years than we have ever. And we're seeing them right now.
Right, but scientists don't agree. Well, this is where it gets confusing. Because scientists that are in agreement, there's all these entanglements. Whenever someone's discussing something, whether it's economics or whether it's health issues or pharmaceutical drugs, there's financial entanglements. I think we both agree with that, right?
Yep.
And I think this is part of the issue with this whole climate change emergency as well, because it's not just that we could all agree pollution is a major factor. It's a huge issue in the world today. We could all agree with that, right? I think one of the things that we have to recognize is that whenever there's an issue that everyone can agree on, you're going to have a bunch of people that capitalize on that issue and they look to gain more money. They have financial issues that they push forward in order to capitalize on this issue, but then also power and control. these things like they're trying to institute in the UK where they have these 15-minute cities, this concept where you're not allowed to travel. They'll be able to look at your carbon footprint. See, that's the problem. The problem is giving people that are in power, these people that we've all discussed that have so much money and so much control over our societies, multinational corporations, giving them more control over citizens. And this is a vehicle for that. And this is what's dangerous about this whole climate change emergency, because it allows these fucking creeps that have been controlling people and controlling what you do and what you say and how you spend your money with people that are already living check to check, and you put additional constraints on them and you make them even more scared. And then you put additional measures where you can look at their carbon footprint, you can look at the amount they travel. What do put a carbon tax on these people? Let's figure out how to extract more money from them. That's what bothers me about this climate change emergency.
And it's a great point. Look at the transgender stuff. They came up with this transgender surgery and gender affirming care and all this. There's a lot of money involved because it's literally contradicting to their belief system. They all say that gender has nothing to do with your genitals or your biology or your body, but then they support all the hormones and puberty blockers and sex change surgeries and genital mutilation and cutting genitals, top surgery, bottom surgery for literal minors. And they lose on that issue every single time. And of course, the giant corporation, the big pharma, of course they want them to get these surgeries so they can extract money off of these people, the people who are mentally ill, so they can exploit them and make them lifelong pharmaceutical patients, even if it make them suicidal and weak, and they lose their ability to have family again. But they still do it because they want money, they want power. And these idiots literally die on that hill and look insane and support this nonsense that completely contradict their beliefs. We have word for these people. It's called useful idiots. When they talk about socialized healthcare or universal healthcare, of course, big pharma want this to happen. So when government subsidize these pharmaceutical companies so they can make money and give people stupid treatments, when a person have fever and they run multiple nonsensical tests on these people so they can somehow increase the bill and make more money. You have to understand, socialism has been proven to be failed in every single country. It's a disaster. But some people don't even realize it, man. They are so disconnected to reality. Anyway, what do you guys think about the climate change issue? Do you think it's a very big problem in the future? Because it could be. I'm not saying climate change is complete hoax and nonsense. Of course, there's some truth to that, but there's so many lies and misinformation. No one can deny climate change. Climate obviously change over time. So you can see in that graph. Climate always change.